The consumer decision-making process can seem mysterious, but all consumers go through basic steps when making a purchase to determine what products and services will best fit their needs. Think about your own thought process when buying something, especially when it's something big like a car. You consider what you need, research, and compare your options before taking the plunge. Afterward, you often wonder if you made the right call. By understanding the consumer decision-making process, you can then influence it as a marketer. Generally speaking, the consumer decision-making process involves 5 basic steps. First, need recognition or problem recognition. Need recognition, whether prompted internally or externally, results in the same response, a want. Once consumers recognize a want, they need to gather information to understand how they can fulfill that want, which leads to step 2. So for instance, winter is coming. This particular customer we're focusing on has several light jackets, but she'll need a heavy-duty winter coat if she's going to survive the snow and lower temperatures. This leads her to information search. When researching their options, consumers rely on internal and external factors. Let me jump down below here to this graphic, which dives into this component in a little bit more detail. So one internal factor that a consumer thinks about or they recall is their past experiences with a brand. This is why it's critical to make sure people have positive customer service experiences. They remember them when it's time to make a repeat purchase. This is also why it's advantageous to invest money into developing brand awareness and recognition. You want consumers to know you and trust you. This way, they turn to you when they find themselves with a consumption problem. Alternatively, consumers may seek out information in the external environment. They may browse through options at a physical location or consult online resources, such as Google or customer reviews. So for instance, in our example, a customer might search for winter coats on Google to see what options are out there. When she sees that someone has a cute coat, she asks them where they bought it and what they think of that brand. In general, your job is to give consumers access to the information that they want with the hopes that they decide to purchase your product or service. So the next step, step 3, evaluation of alternatives. At this point in the consumer decision-making process, prospective buyers have developed criteria for what they want in a product. Now they weigh their prospective choices against comparable alternatives. Alternatives may present themselves in the form of lower prices, additional product benefits, product availability, or something as personal as color or style options. Your marketing materials should be geared towards convincing customers that your product is superior to other alternatives. Be ready to overcome any objectives. For instance, in sales calls, know your competitors so you can answer questions and compare benefits. For example, the customer compares a few brands that she'll like in terms of her winter coat. She knows she wants a brightly colored coat that will complement the rest of her wardrobe, and though she'd rather spend less money, she also wants to find a coat made from sustainable materials. In step 4, this is the moment the consumer has been waiting for, the actual purchase. Once they've gathered all the facts, including feedback from previous customers, they arrive at a logical conclusion on the product or service to purchase. If you as a marketer have done your job correctly, the consumer will recognize that your product is the best option and then decide to purchase. For example, the consumer finds a pink winter coat that's on sale for 20% off. After confirming that the brand uses sustainable materials and asking friends for their feedback, she orders the coat online. And then in this last step, post-purchase evaluation. We will dive into discussion in more detail in a later chapter, but this is the part of the consumer decision-making process in which the consumer reflects on how they feel about that purchase. Did it meet their needs? Are they happy? And then from a marketer's perspective, how can you continue to engage with this customer? Remember, it's your job to ensure that your customer continues to have a positive experience with your product. You want to gain lifelong customers, and in an age where anyone can leave an online review, it's more important than ever to keep customers happy. So we're going to spend a little bit more time focusing on the beginning parts of this decision-making journey, and then, like I said, subsequently we'll dive into the later stages. So the marketing funnel here, you might have heard of something called the marketing funnel or the conversion funnel. It corresponds directly with the consumer decision-making process, but it adopts a marketer-centric versus consumer-centric point of view. A conversion funnel is an e-commerce term that describes the different stages in a buyer's journey leading up to the purchase. The metaphor illustrates the gradual decline of the number of potential customers as they're guided through the conversion path. The conversion funnel is often divided up into upper funnel, middle funnel, and lower funnel, which helps determine the right marketing tactics to increase conversions. Top of the funnel, or upper funnel, tofu, top of the funnel. In this phase, a user is just starting to do research about a product and is unsure about any technical requirements or exact needs with the product. They might spend time researching different brands right now and try to understand which brand would suit their needs later on. So this corresponds with the earlier phase of the consumer decision-making process, where they're aware that they have a problem and they're just starting to think about looking for information. In this middle of the funnel stage, MOFU, middle of the funnel, users are clued into the more popular brands in their decision category and may have signed up for some email campaigns to receive information about products from these brands. They have built up expectations about what they want now and will disregard brands that they see as not able to provide good value and quality for them. So this is, again, moving through the later stages in the decision-making process where the consumer is evaluating alternatives. And bottom of the funnel, or lower funnel, this should be the BOFU, not TOFU. This is where users have decided on their favorite brands and start to look for reviews and information from other customers to really vet and inform them on what they will get when they purchase this brand that they're thinking about. In sum, the function of the upper funnel is to attract new visitors. The middle funnel is responsible for turning new visitors into qualified leads on a website, and the lower funnel is where macro conversions or purchases happen. Each part of the conversion funnel should be approached differently, and therefore different marketing techniques are employed. So in terms of upper funnel optimization, the traffic you're sending to your online store or e-commerce platform will largely determine the effectiveness of your conversion path. If you're generating junk traffic and bringing visitors that have no interest in your product, the robustness of the sales funnel won't matter in the slightest, as people will drop off immediately. Focusing on driving quality traffic there is the first step to optimizing the upper funnel, and there are various methods you can test. For instance, you can optimize your keywords for paid search and display ads. You can recalibrate the targeting of your social media ads on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn ads. You can capitalize in general on the power of social media to generate general awareness. So you've managed to pique people's interest and attention, and they've landed on your site. Now what? This is where the real work begins. The middle funnel is all about building trust with your prospects and demonstrating the benefits of your products. Depending on how long your conversion path is, you might need a number of different interactions with your customers to earn their loyalty and move them down to the next step in the funnel. An array of different tools and techniques are at your service here, like testimonials, product reviews, case studies, community forums, price comparisons, automated marketing campaigns, things that when you understand your consumer state of mind, you can give them specific content that they're interested in. As your leads trickle down into this very last stage of action and purchase, you need to start pulling them into new conversion funnels, starting at the very beginning. You've done all the hard work guiding them from the awareness stage to the final purchase. Letting them go now would be a great loss. E-commerce businesses that can turn one-time buyers into repeat customers are on the track to success. The more customer data you have, the more personalized and targeted experiences you can craft to keep them interested and wanting more. Once a lead has converted, pull it back into the nurturing phase and continue building rapport through targeted offers and email campaigns. But again, we're going to come back to these final steps in the consumer decision-making journey and the marketing funnel later on. So let's step back to the beginning phases again and think about different types of customer decisions or purchase journeys. Are they all the same? Think about some of the past purchases you've made. How did they differ? We can think about purchases on a continuum from low purchase involvement here, Remember this from the motivation, ability, opportunity chapter. Low involvement means low motivation, or up all the way up to high purchase involvement, where consumers are willing to invest a lot of cognitive effort to thinking about a product or purchase rather. So down here at the habitual decision-making level, this is when consumers make choices with little to no conscious effort. These are things like replacing your laundry detergent. And the decision journey here is very slow. People might realize that they need new detergent when they run out of it at home and just simply pick it up the next time they're at the store. Moving one step up, we've got limited decision making. This might be in an instance such as buying a computer. People might not be as motivated to search for information or to value it as rigorously as all the way at the top of this continuum, but they're still more motivated than in the habitual decision-making phase. Here, they may use simple decision rules like heuristics to evaluate and make a choice. And then all the way here up at the top of the continuum, or far to the right of the continuum, we might have a consumer who's making a choice like buying a house. Here, the consumer usually believes that the decision carries a fair amount of personal, financial, or social risk, and so they'll be willing to expend a lot of effort to gain information and evaluate alternatives. So the marketing materials you might use here might contain a lot of detailed information about the pros and the cons of your offering, whereas the marketing materials for these types of decisions are going to be very maybe emotional or flashy, or tactics like promotions to get consumers' attention in the checkout lane in the grocery store, for instance. And then finally, there are different types of problems in terms of their immediacy and whether or not the problem was expected. So immediacy of a problem solution is a relevant factor in determining the decision time horizon, that is, how soon a problem solution is needed. This will affect the length of the decision process and the intensity of decision effort. The expectancy of the problem, the other dimension, can affect facets such as the sources of information used in the decision process, for example, as well as the number of alternatives considered. So first, we've got routine problems. And those are ones where the difference between the actual and the desired state is expected to occur and the immediate solution is required. So, for example, convenience goods are associated with this type of problem recognition, such as most grocery purchases made by consumers. Next, emergency problems are those that are unexpected and in which immediate solutions are necessary. For instance, a consumer who's involved in an automobile accident and totals his car may need a quick solution to his transportation problem. Third, planning problems occur when the problem occurrence is expected, but an immediate solution is not necessary. For instance, a consumer who expects that his car will only last one additional year may begin to engage in window shopping for automobiles, having discussed with friends about various brands, and pay closer attention to auto ads. And then finally, evolving situations occur when the problem is unexpected, but no immediate solution is required. For example, the fashion adoption of browsing, window shopping ordinarily occurs over a lengthy period of time for many consumers. It's not a problem that requires an immediate solution, but it's also not something that they expect to happen, to feel like their clothes are out of date. Finally, I want to mention two different types of advertising approaches that are pervasive in the online marketing context and which correspond roughly with the different phases of the decision-making process. So you may have heard of search and display advertisements, but I'm going to quickly overview the difference between the two of them. When you think of Google Ads, you probably are thinking of search ads on the Google Search Network. These are triggered by a proactive search query input by the user. So if you're looking for a flower shop, you might type in flower shop, and then you'll see the different options pop up at the top of your browser. So these are the text-based ads that appear next to the search results as people search for related products or services. On the other hand, the display network, these are ads that appear all over the web. So as you browse different websites, they pop up maybe on news sites or clothing sites or even social media sites. The Google Display Network is the set of third-party websites that have agreed to show Google Ads. But this is made up of millions of websites all across the internet. So it's not just websites that are tied to Google. So ads are triggered when matched to a relevant page, content, or specifically targeted by the advertisers. So an advertiser for fitness apparel might choose to have them appear on fitness-related blogs. So the key thing here is that users are visiting pages, they're browsing on the internet that are just of interest to them in general, and they're not proactively looking for ads. Display ads are designed to target buyers early in the sales cycle. Because users aren't actively searching for a product, the goal of these ads is to build awareness of a product and drive users into the sales funnel. So this is top of the funnel, targeting users at the top of the funnel, or early on in the decision-making process. And search ads are relevant for consumers that are later on in the decision-making funnel when they know exactly what they want or they are looking for your brand specifically.